Hello, this is Mr. Huff, and I want to go over how to make a tread. This is one of the things they ask for in PLTW. So we're going to start by making a new part. And we're going to start by thinking about the profile. So dimensions are real important in this. You need to think about the um, overall width and diameter of your rim that it's going to sit on, because these have to match up with that so it works. So what I've done right here is I've added a line in the x-axis. I'd like to do this because it makes my job convenient. And I'm drawing some construction lines here to establish that my width is going to be 0.57 and that my height is going to be the half of the diameter of my rim that I made. So the next thing I'm going to do is to turn off my construction lines, and I'm going to throw a couple of rectangles up here, and I make a few mistakes. I would expect that if you were doing this, you would have a few measurements and make sure things were centered. This is just a real quick example. If you look at the inside of the tire, you'll see that it has a little kind of spline around the center, so we're going to establish that with a little rectangle. And then I'm going to put another rectangle above that. One of the things you would need to pay attention to is this clearance between my construction line and the bottom of that larger rectangle needs to be the same as the edges of your rim. I'm going to add some fillets here, and I should have changed my number right here. I did this really messy. I should have changed it as I was making them to 0.05. When I went in and changed this here, and that didn't work, you can't do that. You have to open the measurement itself. It would have been better to do Control-Z 2 times and redo this. What I did instead is I changed the number, and it messed everything up. So since I don't have a lot of constraints on it, I just rearranged it and straightened it up. So basically we're making a profile of the tread. So if you were to slice the tread, this is what you would see. Please do not slice the treads. Alright, so once I have this established, I can revolve it. So I hit revolve, and I choose my profile, and I choose my center axis that I drew. You could also use the origins there if you wanted. The next thing I want to do is add the little blocks on the inside, so I'm going to have some trouble here. Really, the way to do this is right-click on that plane and choose New Sketch. So I did this wrong like 3 times. If it's any consolation, class was going on while I was trying to do this, so a little bit distracted. Alright, so I finally got my work plane started. We're going to choose View and Slice Graphics, and then that's going to show us the inside of our profiles. And now we're going to just drop a little rectangular block. Oh, that's nice. I closed the sketch I just started, so we're going to go edit that sketch again. And View, Slice Graphics so we can see inside. And now we're going to choose a 2-point rectangle, and I'm going to put it inside the tread and make sure it doesn't cover up that little spline. It's going to be roughly centered. If I were doing this for real, I would have used some very specific dimensions and put some constraints on there. So now we're going to revolve that, and I don't want it to go all the way around, but I have to choose the profile and then the axis. So choose the profile, then the axis. So my axis disappeared, so I had to go choose the origin, and I have this little pop-up showed up over my other little window. That's awkward. And I'm going to choose an angle. Let's make it 8. It doesn't need to be 90, that's for sure. So now I have my little feature. We're going to use circular pattern, choosing that feature I just made, choosing rotation axis, choosing any circular part of the wheel, and let's put in 22 of them because all of you have counted those and you know that there's 22. Actually, I don't know how many there are. So now we're going to start another plane. So now what I want to do is emboss. We have to offset from a plane, and I'm going to choose the XZ plane, and I'm going to pull this until it's just above the rim or the tread. Do you see how it kind of slices through the tread, and just when it clears that, that's where I want to put this. We're going to put a drawing on top. It has to be just like an extrusion. It has to be a closed loop, and it can't self-intersect. So I did a little lightning bolt shape, and then I'm going to offset this a little bit. So I grab it and drag it, offset it just a bit. And then I have to go in and use a line to connect the ends. And then I can go to the other side. Notice how it's overhanging the tread. It doesn't have to, but I think it looks nicer if you do this. So finish the sketch. I have a closed loop ready to be embossed. I choose the emboss tool. And it's already picked my profile that I made there. And I'm going to make it cut in, and 0.1 inches will go all the way through my tread. It's very thin, so I'm going to use 0.02, and it's going to cut in, and I wrap it to the face, and then I click OK. And you can see that it cuts down into the tread, even through the little curvy spots. So now I'm going to take and do a circular pattern. I'm choosing the feature and then choosing the rotation axis, which is the face of the tire. Let's put 33 of those on there. It just has to be enough where they're close together. Make sure they don't overlap. Inventor will probably complain. And then I'm going to choose a different material. Let's say red. You pick whatever you want. I would expect to see different shapes there and maybe some more precise construction, but this gets you through the basics of it. I'm going to hide that work plane so we can just see this lovely tread. So now we have a nice little tread here, and that's how you emboss on a tread. The end.